Good morning. It's a joy for us to be with you, and it's very nice to see you and to see because we are American Baptist missionaries. But when we are there in the mission field, sometimes we feel lonely and but to see the real people who is praying for us is a great joy for us to be with you this morning. I think one of the things that I enjoy more about the ministry is the big diversity that we have, because we are assigned to the European Baptist Federation that it represents more than 40 countries. So to see the different culture, the context, and what does it mean to be a Baptist, in each culture is a joy to see. But sometimes when we cross the border, I feel like I need to change my ship. It's a different situation. And also to see, the majority of the Baptist unions, they are minorities. Only a little percent, 2.4% are Christians that dedicated in Europe. So that is a very little percent, and the Baptist is a little percent of that percent. So, for instance, I remember, like when I think in the Orthodox Church, I think, they are Christians, they are believers, but it is depending of the context. Like, for instance, in Lithuania, the Baptists and the Orthodox Church, they have a very good relationship, and they send greetings to each other during Christmas, during Easter. But if we go, for instance, to a country like Georgia, they are persecuting, or to the Orthodox Church is persecuting or brothers and sisters there. And in one of the Baptist churches, they broke the locks, and they came and they took all the Bibles and hymn books, and they make a fire outside the church. So it is very different. And also, for instance, what does mean, for instance, if you go to Poland and you see what is the cooperation with the Baptist Polish with the Catholic Polish, well, almost there is not a cooperation. They are oppressing, the Baptists are being oppressing. But as you go to the Czech Republic, when we are living, you have there pastors that they had been during communist times in jail together with the priests, the Catholic priests, and they share the experience, and then it is like exciting to see this cooperation. I was in the south of the Czech Republic, and to visit one of my friends, her son was having baptism, and I was introduced to the priest, and the priest told me, wow, that is what we need, people to talk about Christ, and so it was very exciting to me to see this cooperation that is different in depending of the context that we are. The Czech Republic is more than 30% of the population is atheists. So it's very hard to do evangelism there. It is like you cannot talk, and you cannot say like God loves you, Christ died for you, or the Bible say, because they don't know what, in their mind it is like, what you're talking about, or, wow, this is a nice thinking, or it's very interesting, that ideas that you have. So one of the ways to talk to the people is to do pre-evangelism through relationships. We have the extreme team last summer, and we give a little note, a little card that say in Czech, I'm looking for a Christian. We took them in a city in the Czech Republic, and the city of Most, that was very hard hit during communist times, and because they found coal under the city, so they leveled all the city, and they put some apartments outside the city. So it is very hard, to find, during the communism, they will not build churches there. And so it say the little paper, I'm looking for a Christian, in Czech, in between brackets, do not translate, this is a project. So we divided the extreme team, in two groups, and they were per hours looking, and talking with the people, or showing the card, and they were sent to the police station, to information, tourist information, to the in a hotel, to the lobby of a hotel, until one man say, well, give me a map, and he put a cross in the map, and the team went and looked, and they found a church, a little plaque with a church that was a Christian church. So the team was thinking we were looking for a church, but in fact they were looking for a Christian. And that project was so that for them to understand, because sometimes, we can say, many things, but if the team was not able to grasp it, that it was hard until they were looking for 3 hours looking for a Christian. There was a experience for them to understand that. We have during Wednesday, we have a Bible study, and I have one friend that I have been keeping invited, and she's coming to the Bible study in Wednesday, and her name is Jana. And she was telling me, my past is haunting me, because in the school they told me that Christians, they are violent, that they are weird, that that is strange to be a Christian. So she said, that is what they teach me in the school when it was during the communism. So it is hard for me to understand this. And in Christmas, in the beginning of December, we were thinking in the Bible study what gift we will give to Jesus during Christmas. And then we start to think about the bad things, like, can we give a bad present to Jesus? Like something that we are dealing in our heart, something in our life, and something that maybe, we have been dealing for a long time as a Christians, with something that we think, well, this is my personality. If I change, it's not me anymore. But in fact, we don't need to deal with those things anymore, because Christ came to born for us, but also to die for us. And he already paid on the cross for all our sins. So we're thinking what we can leave there, what we can just leave to him, those things that sometimes we think that we cannot even afford to leave there. So we were thinking that, and then Jana said, can I pray? I say yes, and it was the first time that she will pray in public, because I think that she might be praying at her home. And then she say, God, I want to be your present this Christmas. And I want that you forgive me for all the Christmas that I didn't believe in you. And I want that you help me to believe. And then after that prayer, she said, I want to have faith. I want to have a lot of faith. Big faith I want to have. And I said to her, you don't need to have big faith. The Bible says if we have faith like the size of a seed, then we can say to that mountain, move, and we'll move. It's because I say to her, the faith is not about us, it's where we put our faith. So if we have a little faith, but we put it in the fundament, and the only thing that is the truth is we put it in Jesus Christ, then we are safe. Because it's not depends about us. So we only need a little bit, but put it in the place that is safe, in the place that is secure. Then when normally most of the time we are traveling, we are not in the Czech Republic. And sometimes I'm getting a little bit confused in my life because, I'm from Mexico, Peter is from Holland, Norita was born in Germany. I have 2 passports. I have 4 driver's licenses. We are assigned to more than 40 countries. And sometimes, I don't know where I belong. But the most important thing is that my citizenship is in heaven. And that is secure. So my identity is in Christ. So that is the place that is secure. And also, we also are, as being international family, being assigned to international context, we are very different. Our personalities, Peter and I, are very different. Just like to give you one example, we were traveling from Romania to Bulgaria, and we were waiting in the way that we travel in a little motorhome, and this motorhome, we cook, we sleep, and then we can save in the planes, we can save in the restaurants, we can save in hotels. And normally we stay in the parking lots of the churches, or we stay in the parkings in the driveways of the houses of the pastor, or where is the project, so that we can save. And then we can do much longer, and then we can go all the family or more persons with us with the price of one. So it's the way that we do it. So we were in Romania, and we were waiting to take the ferry to Bulgaria. And it was getting late, so I was thinking, I'm going to start to cook. And then when I started to cook, I saw a snake. So I was like, a snake, Peter, come, there is a snake. And then Peter is coming, and then he said, the camera, where is the camera? So this, this is how I see that God put us together to make a team for in the ministry. One of and one of three that we made that was very long team. We went to Turkey, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan. When we visited one of these churches in Turkey, in Smyrna, in Smir, these churches have very interesting history. The way that it is, the church, the building is in a shape of a cross. So because it had this shape, it had been abandoned since the beginning of the century in the 1900s, and then this pastor, this person went to Germany. He accepted Christ. He went to Bible study and he returned to Turkey. When he went to Turkey, he started to have a Bible study. The Bible study was growing, and they needed a place to meet. So they saw this building that I think it was kind of an Anglican in that time, but it was all almost, I mean, it was in a very bad shape. But they went to the local government and they say, we are Christians, and this building, is a Christian place, can we have it? And the local government agreed to give it back to them. So it's a miracle by itself, and they are there. They renovated. It's a beautiful place now, and the ministry that they have is they have a Turkish tea outside, and the people is passing by, and they have a university nearby, and they're passing. The students are passing. One of the students, Esther, she passed, and she came to the church. They give a tour. They give a New Testament. She went home and she didn't understand, what she was reading. So she returned and she had some questions. They explained to her, but still she said, I was like in zero when they tried to explain to me. So then she went again and she read the New Testament for 3 months. And after 3 months, she returned home and she said, I want to tell you that I believe in this Christ of the New Testament. So they were all excited, it's just the power by the word, just to read the word that she was convinced by the Holy Spirit. And now she's a member there. She's going to soon graduate from university. But it's the same story of many of the students there. They're going to return to their homes when they are not, the family is not happy with the decisions that they had made, and also they don't have a place to worship. And in this place, they were looking for volunteers there. Also, there is another place in Azerbaijan that I would like that is you can pray for Pastor Saur. In Azerbaijan, during the Sunday morning service, the pastor was preaching and the police came and they arrested him with false accusation. And since May 2007, he's in jail, he's in prison. And so I just want to ask you that we pray for him. There have been many letters and many people is trying to intervene, but it has not been a success. But we know that prayer, is with prayer can happen miracles. So I want to ask you if you can pray for this pastor. To be a volunteer, it really have impact in the life of the persons. We have one pastor from that went to the Czech Republic, and while he was going to the Czech Republic, he was really tired physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and he decided that he will leave ministry. But he had the commitment to bring this team to the Czech Republic. We didn't know about that. And if we will know about that, we will put him in a nice place, to a volunteer work. But we didn't know that, and we put him in a very hard place. But we are used the instruments in God's hands. And this is how, when we see that it's God's works, and it's not about our work, it's God's works, He is the one who is doing the things because He knew it better. And through this difficult situation that it was a building construction, and the neighbors, they didn't want a Christian church, and also the construction permits were very hard. Through this situation, and to see this pastor, to see the members of the congregation that they were with this passion to have a place to worship, he was again refreshed, and he returned. He continued his church. I did almost for a year, and then he started a church planting. Now this church have 300 members, and now they're gonna go to Hungary with a team with volunteers. So it is amazing to see how God can work in our life if we just allow Him, if we just give Him the opportunity to work in our lives.
All kind of different volunteer jobs, from teachers to construction to English teaching to mercy ministries. In the flyer that we have, and it is on the back table as well as in the display table in the lunch place, you can read a little bit more about it and more options that we have. Also, sometimes people ask, what about age? How old do you need to be for being a volunteer? Well, we usually answer 18 to 80. But we have had volunteers that were younger, and we have had volunteers that were older. So even 18 to 80 wouldn't exactly fit. Sometimes families come and they take younger children, 16, with them. And sometimes older people that are retired, and it's more easy for them to have a secured income to help on the mission field. So that is also possible. And then for how long? Sometimes it is just for a week. Usually we say minimum a week, because if you go to Europe, it's 3 travel days. Living close to LA, you kind of are familiar maybe with traveling to LAX. I mean, you fly there overnight, so you lose a day when you fly there. That makes it 2 days, and then it takes a full day and a 9-hour longer day or 10-hour longer day to get back. So the only thing that is shorter sometimes is orientation visits. When a pastor comes, or a youth pastor, they say, we want to do a volunteer work there this summer, and we want to come a few days there before to see where we're going to be located, what kind of work we're going to do, and so. But for volunteer work, usually 1 week, until a construction team many times goes 2 weeks. Many people have 2-week vacation, do a construction project, or camp weeks in the summer with children camps, English camps, and so forth. Or sometimes a student has a full, like the summer free for 2 months, and they want to work for 2 months in Europe. Sometimes there are either elderly people or young people that come for 3 months or a half year, a full year. When they are retired, they have a little more time to come over. Or young people that have applied for a college, and the college says, okay, we accept you, but in that year. And then they have a full year in between. And it's a great way to use that full year in missions. It's a great way of education. It's a great way of learning about the world and about what God is doing in this world, which you otherwise would never have. So really, we have many opportunities and many possibilities to do that. One of the things that works very well, for example, in the Czech Republic, is the English camps. As Nora said, we had the extreme team last summer in one city, the city of Most, and we can tell them the Czech Republic is a hard place to evangelize, but even after a week, they say, well, every place is a hard place to evangelize, But if we let them go out and search a Christian for hours with 2 teams, and they cannot even come up with one single Christian, they start to realize many people didn't even know what a Christian was. And partly because in that city were not really churches. Since the communists leveled the old city and they built up the new city, they didn't build churches in the new city. So there was not even an historical reference to a church. So then you start to realize it's hard. And when people have no means to relate what you're saying, you cannot just tell the gospel. How do you start? And when in the schools they are teaching that it is weird, or that it is out of date, or that it is violent, who wants to become a Christian? If a young person converts to become a Christian, accepts Jesus Christ in their heart, their parents, they think, what did we do wrong in raising raising our child? They think they make a mistake in raising their child when they turn out a Christian. So it is not an easy place. But the English camps, they work very well, because you're not saying, we are going to tell you about the Bible, because they don't want to hear about the Bible. You're going to offer English classes, and they do want to hear English classes, because English is the language of the world right now. It is like 1,000 years ago Latin. Everybody spoke Latin, and today everybody speaks English. It's the language for traveling. It's the language for computers. It's the language for almost everything you want to do internationally. It's English. Language for tourism. So people are interested in learning English. And you just come with a plain textbook. You don't come with the Bible and teach English from the Bible. You come with a plain textbook, because they would walk out if you come with the Bible. A plain textbook. And what happens, after 1 or 2 years, they start to see that there is a difference in the lives of those teachers compared to themselves. They start to see there is something those teachers have that they don't have themselves. And they start to wonder, what is it? What is it? And then they know that the teachers are coming as Christians because they work with the church. So they start to ask questions about Christianity. And without doing a lot of arguing, just by being there and by having the Lord present in your life, it's a testimony to them, and it's an invitation to them to also invite the Lord into their lives. And then after 3 or 4 years, they decide to become a Christian. Not all of them, but it happens, and many of them. 80% of the youth group in the First Baptist Church in Prague came to the Lord through the English camps. 80% of the youth group, with no Christian background. We have a project about an hour north of Prague, within a church there. They have an after-school program, they have English classes. It started 5 years ago. We provided them with a volunteer, an 18-year-old girl from Utah, who had to wait to go to college. She said, I want to be a missionary for a year, and I want to serve the Lord. So we talked with this church and said, why don't you offer English classes and let this girl help you with English classes? Now, when she started the program there was nothing in place, everything needed to be started from scratch. We bought the books in Prague, some English textbooks and so forth, and they started to organize it. By this year, the 5th year, they have 80 people regularly attending, and already 30 people, new people, are in the church because of the English program, who accepted Jesus Christ. So, in that sense, after the years, this girl herself, she might not have seen fruit when she was there, but the Lord has been working, and the Lord has been working in those places. And right now, in December, before we left, we had a volunteer from Minnesota working there for about 3 or 4 weeks in the same place. And he was invited to the schools, because by now, the program is established, and the people start to know about it, and they start to feel comfortable about it, and they invite the teachers from the English program, when they come from the US, to teach in the kind of cultural classes in the school. And because it was close before Christmas, they started to ask questions about Christmas. They started to ask questions, who is Jesus Christ? And he could just plainly evangelize in the school classes. So we see the Lord at work over the years, and sometimes it needs some patience. And as Nora said, in many places it's pre-evangelism, but the Lord works. And through our lives, you don't need to be a big theologian. If you have a healthy relationship with Jesus Christ, your life is an open book to the world. It's what Paul says in the 2 Corinthians letter, chapter 3, verse 2, where it says that the Corinthians are his letter to the world. So the world reads our lives. The world sees what we are doing. And the world sees if we believe in God or not. And in this sense, it's a testimony, and people also are interested in following the Lord. So this is what we want to share about our ministry. We could, of course, go on, but the time is limited, and we also want to show you some pictures, some visual images. So maybe I'll just ask the people in the back to forward. Partly it goes automatic, but partly we can just forward. This is our family. As you see, our daughter and Nora and me. And the next slide, you see us in our office. In the background is our office in Prague, in the seminary. In the background is the map of Europe, and all the red lines in Europe are the places where we have been, from the far north in Norway to the far south in Spain, and so forth. So here we prepare the visits that we're going to do, and then we hit the road, and the next few pictures are from the different roads that we hit. For example, here we enter to Slovenia, and when you enter a place, it has the speeds and it has the different rules that they have. Also, you see on the door of our car a card from the credit union, the card that gives to missions, because they have 1% of each purchase that people make go into missions, and they help to provide for this car. So for those that are with the credit union, thank you for making it possible to drive. Maybe we continue with the next page. This is a tunnel in Montenegro. The next picture, you see one of the roads in Montenegro. Yeah, that was the day before it snowed, and I was 200 miles on snow on my way to Kosovo. So I went to Kosovo that day. It was kind of dangerous. In the next picture, you see that even we went through fire. We had fire on two sides, bushfires on two sides of the road where we went through, but here it's in a distance. Then the next picture, you see that the road signs are not always so easy to read. This is in Armenia. The next picture, you see, this is, in fact, almost everything you see in this picture is Iran. But the car is not in Iran. The car is still in Armenia. We are on the Armenian side, but everything, the mountains there, the car on the other side of the road there, everything is Iran. And the church in Agarak is ministering to the Iranian truck drivers. They go to them, they talk with them, give them Bibles, and because they are waiting for hours at the border. So the people from the church, they go and talk with those, and we brought them Bibles from Yerevan. In the next picture, we see that sometimes when we have a long way to travel, we also spend the nights at camp places, especially when we are as a family. When I'm by myself, I usually park on a quiet side of the road somewhere, but as a family, we often stay at a camping place if we are not with partners. And then we reach our partners. Here we are in front of the Baptist Church in Napoli, and we park on the sidewalk. So we're happy that our car is not too big, and we can just park anywhere. Almost anywhere we want. This is the sidewalk in Napoli. And then we reach our partners at the next page. This is, I'm talking with the General Secretary of the Baptist Union in Azerbaijan, as well as the President of the Baptist Union in Azerbaijan. The General Secretary, he was an imam, a priest in the Islamic priest. And he became a Baptist pastor, and now he is a leader of the Baptist Convention there. So the next picture, we see myself on the roof of a church in Brno. Many places in Eastern Europe, in the cities, there are high-rise buildings around the block, and then inside is an inner court where people could grow vegetables or so, but also they built the churches there because the communists didn't allow the churches to be on the roadside, so they were behind the houses inside the inner court. So this church was one of those. And we had several teams helping them to extend their sanctuary for several feet and to put a basement under there. Teams from Michigan and New York State went there. It was a lot of manual labor because they couldn't get heavy equipment through the houses, of course. I mean, if you have to go to the inner court, you have to have an entry to the inner court, which was not there. So all the building materials, big metal beams and concrete, everything needed to be done by hand, and was a lot of work. Next picture, we see the General Secretary of the Baptist Union in Bulgaria, and they are building a huge church in the center of Sofia. Until now, they always were a small minority in the shadows, neglected by the vast Orthodox majority. But when the freedom came, they prayed about it, and they are building a large building as a testimony, also in the center of Sofia. And the building has on the corner it has a cross, and it is integrated in the building, so you cannot really see it right away, at least not from the building drawings. So the officials, they allowed the building to be built, but once it was ready and you look at the corner of the building, you see a huge cross. And when it's lit up, you can even see it from the airplane when you go over it. So this is the second floor, the sanctuary. The third floor is the balcony. The first floor, on the ground floor, is outreach to homeless people and for medical outreach, different things for outreach on the street. And the two floors above, the fourth and fifth floor, is for Christian businesses. Many churches from the New England helped, American Baptist churches from England helped with building. Currently the roof structure is ready, outside the facade is ready, but inside is still some work left in case a team wants to go there. The next picture we see a Christian radio station in Italy. And 2 weeks ago we had a volunteer go there from West Virginia. And he is helping there right now with programming the computers for 24-hour Christian broadcast in that area. It's the only Baptist radio station that there is in Italy. And those two are volunteers in the station. This is myself at the Caspian Sea. In the background you see the Caspian Sea, which is on the other side of the Caspian Sea. You have Kazakhstan and then you have China. So our area reaches pretty far. And here we're looking at some things in Baku, the capital in Azerbaijan. The next picture, we see the church in, this is the entry to the church in Turkey that Nora was mentioning, where they are having the tea, and the university is just down the street there, and the people are passing by all the time. It says in Turkey's Baptist Church, and then a big Turkish flag outside, because for many Turkish people, they think Christianity is something foreign. They think there are no Turks that are Christians. So they really put an emphasis on being Turks. I mean, they are Turks, but so that the students that are in the universities, they know that there is a Turkish church and it's not foreigners, it's just Turkish people. Next picture, we see a volunteer from the area here, from Downey, who is working at a place in the Czech Republic. The next picture, we see a team from New York State working in Lithuania. The next picture too, they are helping with building office facilities for a non-residential Bible school. Then the next picture, we see a volunteer from West Virginia in the east coast of Spain in a Christian camp and a Christian school and camp center. Next picture, we see a volunteer from Indiana helping with a youth center in the Czech Republic. The next picture, we see a teacher for English. She did several years of English teaching. So she had a full year free, but then she extended it for a year. And after the third year, she became a full-time missionary with International Ministries. So she started with English teaching. Now she's helping Lauren Bethel. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the ministry of Lauren Bethel. And she is helping to prevent Bulgarian ladies going into prostitution, because in Prague there are a lot of those in prostitution. And she's helping them to make a living in Bulgaria right now. This is from the Extreme team, helping with building a Bible school in the Czech Republic. The next picture is the same occasion, but then we are working at the roof. And the next picture, we see sometimes we go around with groups. This was a group from American Baptist Women. American Baptist Women, they support missions, and once a year they go someplace in the world to see where the mission money is going. So last summer they were in the Czech Republic, and we led them around in 2 little vans to see where International Ministries is supporting the mission and the local work and what we're doing there. So here we went around with a team. He was a team from Central region. And on the next picture, this is at the seminary, by the way. And the next picture we see a conference. Sometimes we help with conferences. And the next picture, we see the Extreme team at the airport in Prague. This is the international airport of Prague. It's a little bit smaller than LAX, but this is, sometimes we haul around stuff. So we had sometimes dozens of suitcases in our van, or we bring things from one church to another church. As you see, here is an amplifier that they ask us to bring to a church down the road, and then those 5 boxes on there are with Bibles. This was on our way when we went to this place, to the Iranian border, and we were having those things with us. The next picture, we see that we participate in worship and participate in ministry, what the churches are doing. This is in a church in Azerbaijan again. It says, at this trip I had a photographer with me. So you have a little more pictures of this, because when I take the pictures myself, it's kind of hard to have the conversations and make the pictures, but here we had a third person with us making pictures. I'm preaching there in the church of Baku. This is a Russian church. And on the next picture, we see a Bible study group. And in fact, this is the new facility of the one where you saw me standing on the roof. So after they finished the building project, construction project, this was inside. And then the next picture, we see the First Baptist Church in Armenia. The next picture, we see another church in the Czech Republic. The next picture, we see myself participating in worship. The next picture is, this is a worship team in this same church where was the Russian church too, but this is an Azeri church. And all the people in this church were former Muslims. So they're all Christian from a Muslim background. So you also here you only see a picture of the choir, because I didn't make pictures of the congregation, which was packed. Because if those pictures are known, they may lose their job, they may get difficulties at their work, and so we kind of try to be sensitive with that. But it was 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and it was in August. It was very hot. It was a packed church, but they were all lively and singing and swinging for the Lord. It was a great experience to be there. And the next picture, we see again different volunteer opportunities. This is just practical work in a kitchen. The next picture is here they need a waiter that speaks some Spanish. This is a church in Vigo, just north of Portugal in the Spanish west coast, where the church has an outreach center downtown where they serve 100% natural. That's what it says in the yellow and green there, 100% natural. They serve different juices, and they have training and crafts classes behind this location for people in the community to reach out to bring them into the church. The next picture, we see the entrance from the seminary in Lisbon, in Portugal. And on the next picture, we see some manual labor construction work. Next picture is this is an orphanage in Georgia, not the Republic of Georgia, but the nation of Georgia. And it's for about 80 retarded children. This is the classroom, and this is the best classroom they had. We went through the whole facilities there. Now you see the floor is gone, but if you go to the hallway, sometimes there are even holes in the floor that you cannot even really go there. These are the chairs and the tables that they have, and that's what they need to work with. Now in communist days, sometimes, when there was some support for the orphanage, it went in corrupt hands and it disappeared. So right now, it's a poor country, and there is no support currently from the government. And the church is helping to reach out there. They invite the children for Christmas into the homes of the people. They try to do things there, visit them. But it would be great if we had a volunteer team that could just help and maybe fix one or two of their classrooms and make it look normal again. That would be a nice thing. And Georgia is a bit a dangerous area, but we have been there and we came back alive. I don't think it's much more dangerous than Los Angeles. This is a church in Litoměřice, a Baptist church, just 1 hour north of Prague. On the left side they have a park, and the park is surrounded by schools. On the right side they have a former monastery. This monastery was confiscated by the communists in 1948, but in the early 90s it was given back to the order that administered it. But this order only had a few people left in their late 80s, 90s, and they said, we are too old to take care of this place, so we want to put it up for sale and be used for Christian ministry. So the church bought it, and they have an outreach center there. They have after-school program, they have a halfway house, they have classes for people that are long time jobless. And the next picture is one of the one of the monastery, just across the street. And that's where they have the different things. They have a coffee bar in the front, they have classrooms around, they have dormitories for people that leave the orphanage, and they are taught to get back into normal life. Next picture is another location diagonal of the park, where they start the after-school program right now. This picture was taken 2 years ago, and they have about 10 to 50 students every day there, and mainly Gypsy or Roma students. If the weather is good, they have only 10. If the weather is bad, they have 50. And it's only one room, and the rain is going through the mud into the walls and makes it wet inside. So they were asking me a couple of months ago, could you maybe ask for a small team to help us insulating those walls? Only on two sides of this building. So this would be half of this side and half of another side. To dig out the dirt, put insulation, put the dirt back, and it would be a team of four to six people for maybe about a week or a week and a half that would do it in April, because right now the ground is frozen, but in April you can work again and the weather starts to be better. And it would be great if some people could help. This is the inside room while they were renovating it. And the next picture is a pastor in Poland, and this pastor is going to host a team from the Los Angeles area this very summer. In July, there will be a team from the Los Angeles area youth going to the Baptist World Youth Meetings. Every 5 years, the Baptist World Alliance has youth meetings, like in Hong Kong 5 years ago, and this time in Leipzig, in Germany. It's just between Prague and Berlin. About 4 hours away from there, in Poland, there's a Polish church, and together with this church, we organize a mission week for this team. So if young people want to sign up to go to this, or young adults want to sign up for this youth conference, they also have a week mission experience in Poland. This pastor is going to host them, and they're going to take them for youth camps to the coast. Next picture, we see their church. It was built with money from the Billy Graham Foundation. Billy Graham was there in the 70s or 80s, and he gave them money to buy a little house. The church was only about, it was a home cell group, Bible study group, 12 people. Right now they are 140 people, and they have 2 satellite churches in different cities around. They built a sanctuary in the backyard of the house, and now they are renovating the house to have Sunday school rooms in the house. Next picture, we see the city of where it is. It's in Głogów. Now, Głogów was one of the last strongholds before the Russians entered to Berlin in the Second World War to liberate Europe, and they completely leveled and bombed this whole place. Now, in the city, you see still a lot of remnants of there. Here is a little church, the white church in the foreground, a model of the red brick foundation of that church, where it used to be. In the background is a tower of the Catholic Church, also totally destroyed. I was walking there, and there was the theater still with the bombshells and the holes and everything from the war in there. So the city was very heavily destroyed, and that's a place where they will be helping out this summer. Next picture is the English classes that they have in this church, and then after that we see the next picture. We see the church in Macedonia, and I want to close with this. Everyone familiar with the New Testament, in Acts we read about Paul, who gets a dream from a Macedonian man. And what does the Macedonian man say? It's the so-called Macedonian call. He says, come over and help. And after that dream, Paul wants to go to Europe, to Macedonia, because God told him to go to this place. So I finished with this church in Skopje, the capital of Macedonia. And on the next picture, you see the pastor of this church. And behind him it says, now is the time to seek the Lord. And that's true for all of us. Now is the time to seek the Lord, because we are here in His place to listen to His word. We have seen this invitation to be partners in mission, and some people may be able to go in mission themselves as volunteers. Some people may be able to participate in mission by supporting the missions. We would not be able to be on the mission field if you, as an American Baptist Church, would not help us financially to do the mission overseas and to give those experiences to people. As you see, this is the final thing. But I would like to close with one of my favorite Bible verses. It's from Ephesians 3:18, where it says, "Together with all the saints, we are able to see the length and the depth and the width of the love of God, and to come to full knowledge of who God is." Together with all the saints, not as single people, but we need each other. We need each other in the church on Sunday mornings to learn about who God is, but also on an international level. We can learn from other churches in different places, and you see a variety of pictures today from other places where people have different experiences with the Lord, where they experience God in a different way because they are in a different way. For example, people that are living in hunger, they note every scripture about how God provides. People that live in persecution, they note every scripture on how God protects them and how God helps them through the persecution. People that live in different situations have different experiences with God. People that are minorities, they have a different experience with God than people that are in majority churches, because the way the society is built. So people see God in different ways, and if we have fellowship with Christians or Christians in different countries, we have a broader view of the glory and the fullness of God, and that's what it says, together with all the saints. We need it every Sunday morning, together with the saints in one church building, but also on an international scale. I would invite you to participate in missions. Thank you.